And welcome back to DC Central, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down and reviewing Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 Episode 15, otherwise entitled Thong Song, otherwise known as the season finale for Legends of Tomorrow Season 5. So if you're not caught up with Legends this season, make sure you go and do that before proceeding with this review, as it will be filled with spoilers. So here we go, we have the final episode of Legends of Tomorrow Season 5, and also the final episode for the Arrowverse this season. And obviously, Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 overall, I will be doing a Season 5 overview to kind of give you my entire thoughts on the whole season, which is the most important season overview for me, because I actually obviously haven't really reviewed Legends much this season. But Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 overall for me has been actually quite a big step up from Season 4. I have enjoyed it quite a lot. There have been a few really poor episodes here and there, but for the most part I've actually really enjoyed this season, and going into this finale I was actually pretty excited because the episode before this, episode 14, I thought was fantastic. Like, I loved that episode, and this one as the season finale completely followed suit. So this episode still continues a story that we was started in the last episode, where we're kind of living in this reality that the sisters, the Fates, had sort of created. It's very similar to what happened in Legends of Tomorrow Season 2 with the Doom World. It's very, very similar to that, and we're kind of living in this reality and stuff like that. And, you know, I actually kind of think that this whole thing has been interesting, because I haven't really liked the idea of the sisters and the Fates and stuff like that, because it came in the back half of the season. It felt very rushed to me. It felt like they were just giving the character of Charlie this weird backstory that they had never brought up before, and it really felt like they were just pulling this thing out there, you know, just out of nowhere. But this reality thing I did quite enjoy, especially in the last episode when we got to see like those TV realities and stuff like that. I thought it was really quite funny. And what I enjoyed here was, obviously you had, in this version, in this episode, the Fates had sort of turn the loom via Gideon into this watch that would basically tell people what to do. And I thought that was actually really quite funny, because you have that advert where you kind of see the watch advertised, and this is where, like, even though Legends does really kind of wind me up sometimes in regards to continuity, it's times like this where I also look at it and I go, I have to give it points for creativity. Like, all the TV stuff they did last week and the watch advertisement this week, like, it's just so creative and so different than to anything we've seen in the Arrowverse before. I just have to appreciate the creativity, because it is really funny. The only thing that does annoy me about this reality is that it does very much break continuity of the Arrowverse, because if this affects the entire universe, which in this case they say it does, then that means every other show would be affected, and obviously every other show is off the air, so we can't see the effect of it, which I guess is why they can kind of get away with it. But it does feel very much like they just did it and they didn't really think about the wider context of the universe, which I think is an issue Legends often faces. So I feel like this thing, while it was funny and I do enjoy it, and you know, if I can detach my brain from it, I think it's okay. I just feel like for the most part they didn't really think about the wider ramifications of the universe, but obviously it's something that will never get brought up. However, when they are taking down the Fates, this does allow us to have one of the greatest fight scenes in Legends of Tomorrow, where we have this amazing fight scene with the song Thong Song from Cisco in the background. Of course, this is where the title of the episode comes from. This was amazing. It was so funny, really entertaining. It's very much like in Season 3 episode that we had, the Return of the Mac episode, where the final fight of that episode had Return of the Mac playing in the background. Very similar thing. And this song I'd actually never heard of before, but it was actually it's actually quite a cool sounding song. And for the fight scene, it just was really funny, because you have all these people just showing up, you know, and they're just fighting with all these ridiculous weapons and stuff like that. They're fighting these various versions of, you know, people from history. They even have actually Marie Antoinette actually return in this as well, and she very much looks like Courtney Ford. I don't know if they brought Courtney Ford back for this, or if they shot something additional while she was still on the show, but it looked literally identical to her. And she was actually quite funny, like when her head got chopped off and she said, "Oh, not again," and stuff like that. Like, it was a really funny fight scene and I really enjoyed it. Also, something I didn't expect to get in this episode, which I really loved, was that obviously we have Zuri 1.0 back on the show for now, and she has a scene with Behrad where we actually get to see like a flashback of Behrad and Zari escaping the Argus agents, and I thought that was actually really good, because that was something that we never really explored really. Like, we kind of got a bit of it in Season 3 when we first met Zari, but we actually get to see a flashback here, and we actually get to see how Behrad dies, and that was really interesting, because it's literally like a 5-second thing, but I didn't expect to get that, and it kind of just actually showing Behrad in that scene I thought was really interesting, because of course back then we didn't really know what Behrad looked like. We hadn't seen him, he hadn't been cast yet, so we didn't really know that. So to actually give us that scene with him actually in it, I think was really good. And it just added a bit more to Zari, especially because this version of Behrad obviously isn't this version of Zari's brother. So it was nice to kind of give them that moment, and again, just to kind of add a bit more groundedness to it a little bit, which obviously Legends doesn't really do anymore, but it kind of linked back to those earlier seasons when we first met Zari, which I really enjoyed. But this does lead to the ultimate revelation that Zari actually being around and coming out of the loom actually is killing Behrad, because you essentially have two timelines fighting for, you know, prominence. So basically, with Zari being around, Behrad is dying because he is supposed to die in her timeline. And this leaves Zari to eventually having to leave. She goes back into the loom. And I am sad about this, because even though I actually really like Zari 2.0, I think she's really funny, I do enjoy her character a lot, having Zari 1.0 back on the show, like, I completely forgot, like, how much I loved Zari as a character. Having her back for these last couple of episodes of this season was really great. So to see her sort of leave again, I was really sad about, because it's just the way she is. She's really cool, she's calm, she's collected, and the way she interacts with Nate I really like, and the other members of the team. I think she just has a really cool dynamic. I think she's just an awesome character. So even though I am happy with Zari 2.0, I really like her character as well. I was really sad to see Zari 1.0 leave, and I have to admit, I was crying when she left. I was really upset to see that, because again, I love her character so much, and I missed her so much. I didn't realize how much I did miss her, because she was one of my favorite characters, so to see her leave again, it was quite a shame. And it's not the only legend who leaves as well. We also have Charlie leave in this episode, and it has been confirmed officially that Maisie Richardson-Seller has left the series. She won't be returning for Season 6. I mean, Charlie leaving, I don't have as big of an issue with, especially because it really does feel like her story's wrapped up here. Like, this is kind of, you know, they brought out this weird storyline about her being this god in this season, and, you know, that's all been wrapped up. So it does feel like her story's come full circle here. So I don't really mind that. And to be honest, everyone knows I'm not really a huge fan of Charlie. Like, I love Maisie as an actress. I think she's great, and I loved Amaya. Like, when she played Amaya in Season 2 and 3, I thought she was awesome. But when she came back in Season 4 and in this season to play Charlie, I've just not liked Charlie. Like, I've never found her a particularly engaging character. I didn't really like her that much. I find her accent really annoying. It's just kind of weird as well, her accent, because Maisie Richardson-Seller is British, so it's weird that she's doing this really odd fake British accent. But I just feel like her character was always very, I don't know, I just never felt like her character really did much, and it feels like this story of hers that she's had this season just came out of nowhere, and it kind of made me more annoyed with the character than anything. So her leaving, I'm sad to see Maisie go, because again, I like her, and I think she's a very likable actress, and, you know, I'm always, even to this day, I still miss Amaya. But as Charlie leaving, I'm not really sad about that. I'm kind of glad she's gone, to be honest. We can just kind of move on from this bit, because I feel like this character, bringing Maisie back to play this character, was a bit of a weird one, a weird choice, and maybe even a mistake. I think maybe they should have left her with Amaya, especially because that was such a good character, and we could have had amazing memories with that. But for me personally, you know, if you like Charlie, that's great. I think that's awesome. I just personally did not like the character, so to see her go, I'm honestly fine with. But the cliffhanger of the episode is we see Sarah get abducted by aliens. So this is our Season 6 setup. Now, this was actually kind of spoiled a couple of weeks ago, because when they released the synopsis for all the other DC TV shows, including Legends Season 6, they did actually say in that synopsis that aliens were going to be involved. So Sarah being abducted wasn't really, like, a huge thing. I mean, I didn't expect it in this episode, but when it happens, like, you know, when you see, like, the blue light come down, I was like, oh, okay, so this is the aliens. So this is our setup, and Legends does typically set up its next season in the previous. Like, we've seen that the last, like, 3 years. You know, we saw it when Constantine showed up at the end of Season 3, and when Astra showed up at the end of last season. They do like to set this up, so, you know, this isn't really a surprise, really. In terms of the alien storyline, I'll probably do something a bit more in depth with this later on when we get more details on it, but I mean, you know, this is just part of the course at Legends at this point, you know. They just do all these crazy things, and this is just going to be the next step for that. So, you know, I'm fine with it. It can be whatever. We'll see how it goes. So overall, a pretty decent season finale. I thought this was actually pretty great. I thought this season finale really nailed it. Especially, like, these last 2 episodes was really a home run for Legends. Like, for me personally, who is very dodgy on Legends, you know, an episode can either, especially in this season, can either sort of rub me the wrong way or can really make me laugh. These last 2 episodes was like a 1-2 punch of just awesomeness. I love these final 2 episodes, and this finale, I think, just really nailed all the right elements of Legends. Like, this is the level of silliness I want, like to have a bit of story and a bit of action and a bit of fun stuff in there, but then also have some, you know, the really funny, really comical stuff that Legends does. It's the perfect blend of that. This also had a lot of emotion as well. Again, I was crying when Zuri left. I was really sad to see that because I just missed that character so much. And to get a bit more with her and Behrad, I really enjoyed. The fight scene with Cisco was brilliant. I just thought this was a really good finale, really strong end to the season, and honestly, it makes me reflect better on the season because these last 2 episodes were so strong, especially because they kind of serve as a 1-2-parter. I think that's really good stuff. So for me, I love this finale. I think this was a great end to Legends Season 5, and for me, I'm honestly going to give this episode a 10 out of 10. I thought it was so good. I really enjoyed it. I could see myself going back to these last 2 episodes time and time again because I thought they were fantastic final episodes. But what did you guys think about this episode? Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Were you a fan of it, or were you not really a fan of it? Whatever you thought, let me know in the comments down below. And as always, guys, if you want to see more Legends videos and DC content from like this from DC Central, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any uploads from me. And I hope to see you guys again next time.